Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Kristen. Oh, is it storming in New Jersey, Kristen? Ugh. Good morning, Leslie Ann. Good morning, Catherine Jarrett. You're new to me. Good morning. Yes, please, she says. Not sure what she's pleasing or yesing to, but yes, please. I like more of that. What's up with the energy? It feels disrupted. I'm not exactly sure. Good morning, Christina Avalos. How are you? I'm not exactly sure. We're going to look at today's forecast and see. I feel really good. I actually butched out today, and this morning I got out a drill that I bought at Lowe's the other day, and I built that damn shelf. Let me show you the rear camera. That shelf that was like laying on the floor in planks, I left one plank out. That's why you still see the plank on the floor, because I wanted a higher shelf at the bottom. But I got rid of that box. I have another one to build today. But I spent the early part of the morning this morning with coffee and a drill. Tough guy that I am. So I feel kind of accomplished. Like, I could go to bed now and feel like I completed my day. That's not true, but I did feel sort of energized from that. It felt good to be able to use my hands and put something together and think like, I might actually be able to even walk into an IKEA and not be intimidated. Huh. Fancy that. How are you guys this morning? I guess Leslie Ann's not doing so well. So we know where Leslie Ann's at. Hey, Bailey Weimar. I hope I say that correct. Hey, Reese Carter. Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys? What's going on? Where's Ducky, man? Ducky's like sleeping or something. She must be grabbing her cup of coffee. She probably got the notification that I'm on. She's like, oh shit! She's running. I can see her running to her kitchen to pour her coffee. You're good, Catherine Jarrett. Good. I'm glad. Why am I not seeing any YouTubers coming up? I wonder if YouTube's not broadcasting. Interesting. And I don't think I'm still broadcasting to my personal page. I actually had a relative of mine who watches my daily forecasts say that she hasn't seen it in a couple of weeks, and I was like, that's because it's not broadcasting from my personal page. So a lot of people are missing out, and it kind of makes me mad. Hey, Abby Drum, good morning. Good morning, Laura Hill. Hey, Ducky, there you are, and you're there from YouTube. Okay, so YouTube is working. Good, thank you, Ducky. Ducky wants me to remind you, well, and I want to remind you too. Yesterday I made mention that we do have a Amazon wish list. Let's start off with this. I've got a couple of unboxings I'm going to do today. Part of the trilogy, I don't know if you guys have checked out the newest pick a card on YouTube, but please go and do that. It is part of a trilogy of 3 separate sort of sets of questions, one leading into the next, So it's kind of like my dorky way of doing like a Star Wars trilogy, but around pick-a-cards. And I'll give you a little secret. I'm not going to tell you what the next theme is going to be or any of that, but so the first pick-a-card is going to have 3, right? It had 3 piles. We know that. We saw it, those of us that saw it. So there's 3 piles, and the question is what or where are your keys to success? And so, we're searching for those answers, right? Of what is it that makes us successful? Where do we want to focus our attention to be successful? What is it that makes us feel accomplished or successful? I'm not going to tell you the next question for this coming week, but what I am going to tell you is that there's going to be more piles. There will be 4 piles, and then in the third part of the trilogy, there's going to be 5 piles. So it's growing, and it's kind of like I don't know how old all of you all are, but if you remember Choose Your Own Adventure books, it kind of reminds me of that, where you choose this one, and then that one, and then this one, and then that one. And for those of you that are drawn to more than one pile, you're more than welcome to choose more than one pile in any of the 3 pick-a-cards, but it's going to be, you have to deal with all the information. You have to sort it through it, okay? So, it'll give different people different functionality and different answers as they kind of go from one pick-a-card to the next. But they will all be sort of intertwined within sort of the same purpose, if that makes sense, right? So I'm hoping that this works. This is what my intuition's telling me. I think it's going to be fun, to say the least. And so, anyways, that all aside, the reason why I'm doing that is because, or the reason why I brought all of that up is because I'm going to go through a series of unboxings over the next few days to get some decks out that I have bought that I want to use for this pick a card. Because the next one, I know what the subject matter is, but I don't know that I have. I'm trying to figure out the way that I'm going to go with it. Okay, in my butch moment this morning, I hurt my boob. I boo-booed my finger. I caught it when I was screwing the wood together, and my finger was holding the wood in place, and it pinched and cut my finger. So and it's not even the bad finger, so don't worry about that. But so I'm trying to sort out which decks belong because the first pick a card I felt like worked out beautifully. And I knew that the decks that were in there, I unboxed them on purpose because I was waiting to work with them. And I think it was because of this pick a card. Now, some of the decks that I am going to be opening today, hopefully today, over tomorrow, and there might even be more over Sunday. I'll show you just to give you guys an idea. Get you guys excited. Excuse me. Reaching over, far reach there, pardon my reach. Okay, this one I'm super excited about. It's so silly. It's the Harmonious Tarot. Look at how tiny she is! She's just a baby! Oh, she's so cute when she sleeps. So it's a tiny tarot deck. I don't know if you guys can see the artwork, but it's beautiful with a little cupid on it. I'm like, oh my god! So, so that's going to be unboxed and unveiled. Okay, because I think that's going somewhere in the trilogy. I'm just not sure exactly where. And I love that it's called Harmonious Tarot. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So, the other one that I've been sitting on this one for a little while, is the Ethereal Visions, which to me is absolutely gorgeous. She's gorgeous, but she's still in her plastic, so we don't know what's going on the inside. So we're waiting for her. And she kind of ties in a little bit with Harmonious, but I don't know if I want them all in one together or maybe separated apart. I'm going to figure that out. So those two will get unboxed and unveiled. This one is kind of interesting. This one may not make it into the trilogy, but it's all of this is leading up to my Amazon wish list, which I'll tell you guys about. But this one I bought because I learned about it from a wonderful empath that I met in Puerto Vallarta. Her name is Mara Heaney, and she does readings, and she brought this to our Spirit Circle group, and I was like, oh my god, that's beautiful, I want one. So I made a commitment to buy myself one when I got back to the States. And this is the Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle. So this is all around crystal stones, guys. So this one, I'm not sure if this will make it into this trilogy, but I have some ideas about our relationship to nature and the spirits that belong in nature, like animal spirits, plant spirits, and the mineral spirits, which I pray and meditate with all of the time, and I invite them in before I shoot a video, or before just in meditation, just to kind of realign myself with that part of life, because that is part of the universe that we are definitely, Mother Earth is our mother. We come from the earth. Well, I believe we come from the earth and we go back into the earth when we pass. And so this will go into a reading for sure, pick a card, but it will be about how we relate to nature. So I think, and there's some decks that are on the Amazon wish list that I kind of think will pair well with this one, but we'll see what happens. The other deck, and last and final deck right now, and I'm trying to get into this one because I think that this one is going to go in part 3 of the trilogy, and I have a small deck coming that will go in 2 if I can get it in time, but it's shipping from very far away through Amazon, and so it's a small card deck, and I don't want to give away too much, but I'm waiting for it, and I'm like praying to the angels that it shows up in time to make it into group 2, because I know that it's supposed to be, if it doesn't make it into group 2, into pick a card 2, it can go into pick a card 3, but I prefer it to go into pick a card 2. So, and I don't even know the deck yet, but my intuition tells me I need it. So it's on its way. But this is the one that I think is going to go somewhere in the mix, which is the Wild Unknown Tarot, and by Kim Kranz. So I'll be doing unboxing and unveilings of all of these over the next 2 to 3 days, and maybe some more. I have a couple more over there. They won't necessarily be involved in the trilogy, but they will get unboxed and unveiled. Now, all of this unboxing, what is it all about? Why am I doing it? A, I love tarot decks. I'm a bit of a tarot geek. I think it's fun. I love the different art. I love the different messages. B, I think that it's a resource of content that can be utilized on the Facebook channel or the YouTube channel. For others that read or maybe are interested in purchasing their own first deck, it will give them first insight into what a deck may look like, what the art looks like, maybe give people a vibe or a feeling about the deck so that they can go about purchasing it on their own, for themselves or maybe to help others in the future, right? To find their own answers, because that's kind of what I like to do, is to help facilitate people finding their own answers. So I think that this deck unboxing series, unboxing the different decks that I have and showing you where they're at and what they're for, and then mixing them in together with pick a cards and stuff so you guys can see all of that, will enable you and liberate you guys to go out and purchase your own decks or do your own readings or whatever. Just that's what I'm hoping. Okay? And every time I open a deck, it's like Christmas morning for me. So silly. I'm 46 years old and I feel like it's Christmas morning. So why shouldn't we not feel like it's Christmas morning? So in essence, I've spent quite a bit of money. Oh, I went down a rabbit hole on Etsy, and I have Etsy like handmade like kind of decks coming. One's coming as far away from New Zealand. One's coming from Australia. I have some coming from England, from the Witchwood Oracle. I have one coming from, I want to say, North Carolina. So they're all they're really interesting art. I picked them on their art, and so they may make it into other picker cards too. But I did put up an Amazon wish list. Ducky and I were discussing it, and she posted it in the group. It's a great way for you guys to support me if you would like to, or if there's a deck in there that you would like to see unboxed and unveiled, you can certainly purchase it and send it directly to me, and I will do an unboxing for you. I could do it live, or I don't know. It depends. Depending on the deck, I might even do a reading for you from the deck personally. Just, it's a way to support me if you don't feel like you necessarily want a full reading or can afford a full reading. It helps me to also mix and mingle and find different answers and different images and things to work with to bring different messages through for you and maybe others that I'm unaware of. Okay? So, I mean, there's like decks in there about herbology, stuff that I've never worked with, but it makes it interesting for me too, you know? So I think that what I'm going to end up doing is, as these decks start to come in and I unbox them, I might start using them in the daily forecast to sort of change things up a little bit from month to month. Or, I don't know, we'll see. I use the Voyager, which is my favorite go-to deck, and I've used it for years. And I'm fairly well versed in what this deck means to me. Like, I don't refer to the book anymore because I used to refer to the book and read each and every card, and I understand that the author has its meaning, but really each individual reader and their interpretation of the cards is really why you go to that reader. So I kind of open a deck and I just sort of go where my intuition pulls me, right? That's how I work, because that's what it's about, is my connection to spirit. And so each deck is a different sort of language in a way, or a different sort of center point to read from. So that's why I'm excited to sort of explore these new decks that I have here. I also have a bunch that I got on sale from Hay House that I have to still unbox and unveil. And I will do that as time goes on and as I work them in. There's some that I already know that match up with others that will make pick-a cards. I just don't know what the theme is just yet. It's all like spinning in my, not spinning, but like the pot is percolating, let's just say that. But I want to get through this trilogy. And also, you guys, if you look at some of the stuff on the Amazon wishlist and you're like, what is this? Like, there's some that are kind of like, there's the Kama Sutra deck, there's the Sensual Goddess deck, there is some that are more adult in nature. Ducky sends me these adult, because she's a perv, and I'm a little bit of a perv too, but Ducky sends me these pick cards from people using these decks, and they are a little bit more adult in nature, but they're fun, and I think that it could be interesting. So that's why I included those decks. Because I think that love and sexuality is also a part of life, and it doesn't hurt to explore that or find out about that or find answers around that. So some of those more love-based decks could be twin flame readings, could be. I looked for like a specific twin flame deck, and they didn't have it. So I'm thinking like soul contract readings, twin flame readings, love readings. Is it a sexual connection or is it a real connection? Sort of pick a card. Like, is it just love or is it lust kind of thing? And using those decks that are a little bit more lusty might give us a little bit more insight into what is going on in our romance sector, if that makes any sense. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even reading your guys' comments. Karen, you ordered that crystal deck? Cool. I can't wait to unbox it. It's beautiful. I've seen it, a little bit of it, but I didn't get too deep into it because we were at Spirit Circle, but I was looking at it and I opened it up a little bit, and it's stark. It's very much just the stone and then the book. And so I want to figure out, I know a little bit about crystals, like I know certain crystals are good for this and certain crystals are good for that, but I'm also hoping that it will be a good tool to educate myself on the different properties of crystals, and then also, like I said, each deck has its own language. So when I throw down a crystal card and it says citrine, I don't know how that's going to make me feel. I don't know what that's going to pull out of me. Like, I wear a citrine in the morning when I do the morning forecast. So I just use that as an example. But it's just sort of, it is what it is. It's just a new language, and that's what excites me and makes it exciting for me, so that I can get on every day and be doing this for you. And don't forget to, Charmings are coming back. I have the Texas Nerd People, they're called. That's their shop. It's called Texas Nerd. They are coming this morning after 10 o'clock, which, oh shit, I gotta hurry. It's almost 10. To fix the cameras and everything, so that I should be able to do charms from the upright camera so you guys can see the board. So hopefully they'll do that for me today, and we might have a charming tonight or tomorrow night. There's just a lot going on, and I'm trying to keep it all rolling in the right direction. So, no, Ducky, it is pervy. You're pervy, girl. Own it. Like, wave your freak flag, girl. Don't hide it. We all got a freak. All right, so let's take our 3 deep breaths in, close our eyes, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth to get to today's forecast for, where are we at? Friday already? Wow, Friday the 6th. All right, Friday, September 6th, 2019. So let's breathe in through our nose and hold it. Honoring the body and saying thank you. And release. You can set down that grounding cord from the base of your spine to the center of the earth if you'd like. Just let anything that doesn't belong to you, that's outdated, not set in present time, let it flow down that grounding cord. And inhale again a second time through the nose, deep into the belly. Thanking your mind for all of the work that it does, and release that breath. Letting go of any tension, any negativity, anybody else's information. Really exhale all that air out. And let's take in a third breath through the nose, deep into the belly. Thanking the Spirit and asking it to come close to us, to connect with us today, and to lead us throughout our day. Acknowledging its presence and how it works within our lives, and let's release that air. All right, guys. Hi. Okay, so Friday, September 6th. I have to check the date. I can't believe it's Friday already. The week is flying by. All right. Kristen Ravello says, yes, we love a freak flag. Thank God there's somebody else in the room. I am not going to be the only one, okay? Hey, Stony Lyman. Or Mary, I should say. Stony Mary. All right, so I'm going to ask Spirit for a card for the collective, for those that are tuned in this morning and those that may come across this video either later today or at any time. What is the energy that we're dealing with? Ooh, I feel somebody touching this ear right now. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna say this, guys. The energy feels good. It feels like it's moving along steadily. It feels a little tight to me. I'm not exactly sure what that's about. It feels a little bit like fenced in or penned in. As I was shuffling, I felt like my body was being pressed in a little bit. It didn't feel like we were dealing with a lot of like resistance per se, but it was more like pressure. Like, do we feel boxed in right now? Do we feel a little bit, not stuck is not the right word. It's more like we want our space, we want to expand, we're contracted right now. Maybe our energy is contracted, maybe we have our energy pulled in a little bit as a group or as a collective, and that's totally fine. That can sometimes be respectful energy wise, but it does feel a little bit tight. The cards were coming together nicely. There didn't seem to be any heaviness, but that tightness felt like not resistance per se, but more of a, how do I want to put it? Like a, not hardwired. What is the word? Not anxious either. It was sort of like, I don't know, it just feels tight. Like we need to sort of take a deep breath, exhale, and release and expand our energy a little bit. Let our energy. Good morning, Nancy Jennings. How are you? Good morning, Lori. Just sort of letting it out and relaxing and taking a deep breath. I think that would be good on the docket for those of us today. So our card for today, let's see what we've got here. I'm going to flip the cameras because they're not still working perfectly, so give me one moment to flip the camera so you can see the card. Excuse me. So the card today is Learner, Child of Crystals. And to me, I'm just going to get my little pointer here. We had the Eight of Cups stagnation and the Nine of Crystals narrowness, which were leading us into the end of the week. So those of us that were maybe heading in that direction at the beginning of the week, it looks like we're sort of actually learning our way out of that. The Child of Crystals is a mental card, right? It's crystals, so it's of the air element, and it is the mental plane. So it says to me that some of us are in our heads, but we're in our heads in such a way that we might be actually learning something or teaching ourselves something. We're open like a child, and we're like, I love how his hands are open like he's receiving knowledge, right? So to me, it feels like today might be a day where we're able to learn a little bit more about ourselves, to give ourselves a little bit of credit, to give ourselves a little bit of leeway, or like I was talking about that expansion. Like exhale, guys, expand and allow yourself to learn a little bit. Allow yourself to think a little bit more freely. Allow yourselves to sort of play and be like a child in your mind. Now, I know it's not super easy. This whole section of the card up here always makes me think of the past. Makes me think of like when we were children, the fears or the pains that we've gone through and how those things sort of they have an effect on us. They have a, like the memory of them can sometimes have, they create who we are, right? Those experiences. But we don't necessarily have to own them or live from them in the current moment, in the present moment. We can let those things be part of us, but not necessarily be what leads us. And I feel like that's what this card is about, is being in the Child of Crystals and learning how not to allow the past or unpleasant experiences, the negative, the dark, whatever it may be that wants to grab our attention and have us follow it. We don't have to do that. We can have it be there. We can acknowledge it and say, okay, hi, I see you. I understand I went through you. I understand I survived you. Therefore, I have strength. I have the ability to learn new ways of being. I have the ability to be teachable. I have the ability to be open and willing and even enthusiastic on some level. Okay? So to me, I love this bright light up here. It says that there's new thought coming in. That's what I'm hearing as I'm looking at this light, and I'm hearing that from my guides. Is new thought is coming in. New light is dawning. Also, this pyramid here says to me that there's some like spiritual information that it feels like to me as I look at this card, and this isn't normally how I see it. Sometimes the pyramid pulls my attention, sometimes it doesn't. But today it's pulling my attention as if it's in this blue bubble. Like it's getting ready to pop. It's getting ready to pop for some of you, and there's going to be some, because the pyramid is there and it's a golden pyramid. To me, it says that there is some spiritual information, or there's some connection, some higher learning, some divine wisdom that's sitting right near you, that's getting ready to sort of pop for some of you. The question is do we stay focused on this and operate from this place of fear, or do we operate from this place of openness, trust, faith, like a child, learn to think differently and allow this to come in, allow this new thought to come in, allow this brightness to sort of shine over us and teach us something new, allow this bubble to pop and have this new awareness come in, this new school of thought, right? And we do want that. And the funny thing is I have to say this, we had those cards, the Wheel of Fortune kicking off, and then we had that whole midweek major arcana sort of transformation, I feel like, that happened. And now we're at the end of the week, and we should have, the underpinning energy was the Nine of Crystals, which was narrowness, which was feeling suspended and sort of stuck in our thoughts, or maybe trapped in narrow-minded thinking. I feel like we've turned that around, or we're in the process of turning that around by moving into this place of the Child of Crystals. This is maybe the answer to that narrow-minded thinking that we were possibly headed to at the early part of the week. We've sort of have thought ourselves into a more open space. We're still in our minds a little bit. That's okay. Our mind is a beautiful tool. We can always thank it for that. Even when it's in fear, when it's in distress, when it's in angst, it's best to acknowledge it and hold space for it and love it through that time versus be resentful or angry with it or resist it, right? Because whatever you resist will persist. And that is not something you want when you're feeling bad, or when you're mentally stuck or struggling or aggravated. So this to me feels much more open, much more aware and available to the idea of learning new ways of thinking versus that narrowness card that we saw at the beginning of the week. So there is stuff to be learned. What this says to me is there is stuff to be learned about our thoughts and how we use them. We are learning them because we've got the learner card today. And to continue to learn them, to continue to stay open, to continue to remain teachable. The interesting thing is the Child of Crystals to me is a child position, which means there's room for growth here for most of us, myself included. But what I do want to say is that sometimes when we're a child, it can be scary because the unknown is there. We don't fully know exactly what's going on around us, or how to handle certain social situations, or whatever it may be that sort of is in our mind that's saying, oh no, you can't do this, you can't do this. Don't let that lead. That is this darker corner up here, right? This is the memories of other situations that may have felt similar or scary that maybe didn't go our way, but when we were actually maybe children in our childhood, right? Where we weren't maybe treated correctly or taken care of in a way that really saw us through the situation in a way that was beneficial. But the truth is that we needed to go through that situation so that we could have those memories in the now to sort of overcome, right? I'm a firm believer that everything really does happen for a purpose, and if we live in faith and we find that blessing, we automatically shift the energy. So if we can look at these things from our past as painful or as scary as they may be, we need to remember they are in the past. They are no longer with us. We've been through them. We have survived them. We've maybe even learned from them. Give ourselves that credit, give ourselves that gift, and move on. We can utilize them as sort of red flags. So if we see something that's similar, we can say, oh, am I creating that? Am I bringing myself back to that place? Did I not want to let go of that yet? and maybe, let go of that and move on to something different. So I love that we have this card today, guys. It says to me that we get to learn new things and new ways of thinking, myself included. Like, I'm happy that we've gotten ourselves away from that nine of crystals that would have said that we would have felt suspended by this week, or maybe a little bit stuck. To me, this is the we're still doing that work, but we're doing that work in a way that is open, that is available, that is teachable, that is maybe even with some of us enthusiastic, or has some joy to it, or some wonderment like a child. Like, if we can keep that vibration, keep that thought going, or keep that as our train of thought, we're in for a really wonderful day. And I think that that could be some of the expansion that I was talking about, that I felt in the shuffle, where it felt sort of tight. Like, this little boy is in a bubble, and this deeper knowledge is sort of sitting here behind us, waiting to come out, and is waiting to pop and sort of show us. We just need to be willing to accept it and take it. So I think that these bubbles need to sort of expand out, or pop, or contract, like not contract, but combust. Now, don't y'all go blowing up your lives. Like, leave the lighter fluid on the ground, girls. But what I mean like, we need a little bit of expansion mentally today, and openness, and allow ourselves to think like a child, like just open-ended questions. Uh, Living from a place of more acceptance. Oh, that's why that is that way? Okay, why? Oh, okay, why? Oh, okay, universe, why? And let the universe give you those answers, because the universe will. If you ask, and then you wait, and you're patient, and you pay attention to what you're receiving. Okay? So that's the card for today. Let me flip the camera back. Hopefully I will have these cameras all sorted out by this, in the next hour or two. And then I do want it to get to a charming. I haven't done a charming in a while, and I'm like hungry to do some charmings. I also, Ducky and I are thinking of ideas about doing just pick a charms, where you're just going to pick like one item on the table, and then I'll throw the charms and you watch the charming. Minus cards, or maybe having some cards mixed in. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But so those are the things that I needed to share with you all today. I want you to go out into the day, into this Friday, enjoying it and learning, and being open and enthusiastic and optimistic like a child. I know that, if we ever stop learning, it's kind of no fun anymore, right? So we want to be learning. We want to be open to new ways of thought and new ways of being, right? It's all part of evolution, and why we're here. So enjoy that, relish in that. I am available for private readings. I hate saying this, but it is true. This is my business, this is my joy, and this is what I want to do. If you're interested in booking a private reading, feel free to contact me at the business page. They are payable via PayPal and can be done over the phone or Facebook video. I just did one with Kristen yesterday. We had a wonderful time. Sorry to out you, Kristen, but I really appreciate that. And I know some of you are reaching out and asking for readings, so I love that. Another way to support me is to post the video anywhere where it would be greatly appreciated. Like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, anything that helps to get the word out there. And then the third way would be, if you are interested in seeing any of the decks on the wish list be unboxed and possibly used in future reads, please feel free to be my Santa Claus and send it on over. There's some of the little small ones. They're not super expensive. There's some of those that I'm super excited about. I just didn't get them because I've kind of gone over, like, Etsy. The friggin' decks are like expensive because they're sort of handmade, and they're coming from all sorts of different places. So even the inexpensive decks on that list, I'm excited about, guys. So do what you will, or what you want with that information, but it is another way to support me and to support the channel. What else? I think that's it. So, I always end with this. Also, here, one other thing. I want to set up a pick a card for those of you that are in pain. Okay, and the reason why, I think I showed you guys that deck, the Survivors deck. I also have a couple of different decks that I need to unveil or unbox that have to do with that, and there might be some that I included in the wish list too. The self-care cards I have, and I have these cards called The Power of Surrender by Judith Orloff. And I really want to do a pick a card around that subject, but because I know that some of you guys do suffer and some of you guys are struggling, and I don't want you to think that I'm not acknowledging your struggles. So I think I want to do a pick a card specific to like how best to deal with pain or how best to deal with stress or aggravation, sadness, depression, that sort of thing. The thing that I'm just going to say this up front, I sometimes struggle with those things too. So that's why I have a tendency or to want to not focus on those things. I think we do better when we raise our vibration, but I also am a human being and we all are, and I know that we can't always be at a high vibration. If we were supposed to be that way, we would be. It would be much easier in life to do that. Part of the challenge is consciously choosing where we put our attention and our intention. So I do have that thought in mind too, and I am sort of building with decks to start to prepare for that pick a card. Um, so I don't want you guys to think that when everything's all like sunny and roses with me that I'm not acknowledging you guys. And when I end this streams every day, when I say it is all just energy and to focus on the positive as best you can, that is my way of trying to acknowledge anybody that's having a hard time and maybe is feeling stuck without sort of, how do I want to say this? Without sort of giving more energy to their stuckness. Okay? And the pick a card for me, I want it to be uplifting and helpful, but also validating and acknowledging somebody for where they're at when they're there. Do you understand? I hope that makes sense. So that's another whole, excuse my hair. That's a whole nother thing that's in the percolator. You know, I'm like Mary J. Blige, percolating in the dancery. So I will plan on doing that, and I will get those unboxed and unveiled soon. Because once I have them unboxed, then I get to use them freely throughout. And if there's any decks too, this is another thing I just want to say to you guys. If there's any deck that you see that you're like, ooh, that's a cool deck, I want a reading with that, feel free to contact me and let me know. Say, hey, I saw this deck and I was drawn to it and I want a reading with it. We can also do privates with specific decks. It doesn't always have to be the Voyager. The Voyager for me is just what I'm most comfortable with the art and where it draws my eye. But I need to be pushed outside of I need to use my child of crystals and be a learner and learn from the new decks and learn the new languages and strengthen my like connection to spirit through working with different decks. Does that make sense? So that's my gig. That's my gig. So sorry that was long and a lot of stuff, but Rose says we would love that, Dan. Ducky says would love that. Kristen Ravello says I think that would be a beautiful thing, Dan. Exactly, and that's what I want it to be. Is I want it to be uplifting and inspiring. I get nervous about doing it because I don't want it to acknowledge not that it's a fear, but I sometimes think that, and I do this myself, that's why I think that others might do it, okay? So I'm going to preface with that. But sometimes I can get so stuck in my own stuff that I can't see my way out. I have a hard time finding the positive. I have to practice what I preach, right? And so when I find the positive or I'm feeling good, I'm very reluctant to want to go back to those places where I know that I can wind up. And so my fear is, and I shouldn't say my fear because I'm not going to give it that much power. My thought is that I want to find a way to acknowledge it in a way for others that validates them, but also gives them sort of the opportunity to feel validated in it and thus hopefully move forward from it or move in a direction that helps to heal them. Okay, so I'm working on that right now. I'm trying to find the right decks and the right mixture and the right question that needs to be posed in a way that I don't want to create something that leaves somebody stuck further in their pain. That's the thing. And I think that it's very easy in today's world to get stuck there, just with all of the, you know, um, what we're bombarded with in the media, what we're shown, on Facebook daily, how we interact with one another, how social media like almost polarizes us or separates us in some ways. So those are things that I don't want to perpetuate, because it is so easy in today's society to stay stuck or feel stuck. And so I'm working on it, and it's coming. And for those of you that are feeling a little bit, sad or aggravated or frustrated, or you're feeling like, wait, I can't be the learner card today, I just can't do it, I want you to know that I believe that you can. I know that I've had days where I felt that way, where I couldn't get out of bed. Ducky knows that I've had days where I couldn't get out of bed. um, uh, it does change. I swear it does change, and I promise you that. And if you can find the gift, if you can find the blessing, sometimes I need to understand that I went through some of the things that I went through in Mexico, like with the anxiety and the intensity around that anxiety, so that I could realize I had to go all the way, like I was thinking about this last night as I was crawling into bed. I had to go all the way to Mexico and struggle for a year. And although I did enjoy myself, and it is a beautiful country with wonderful people, and I had a great time, I had to go that far and do all of that and sort of go through all of that like time and trouble just to figure out that I needed to be grateful for what I had, which was right here. And so that is a valuable lesson, right? But it's also a little bit humbling to have to admit that I didn't see what was good and what was positive that was right around me the whole time. I was so busy fixated on over there, over there, over there. And so I think that what ended up happening is once I got over there, I realized over there wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. So I'm now here, and I'm appreciating things in a different way. And I think that therein lies the blessing. Now, my old way of thinking, like say 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I would have been like, well, God damn it, I wasted so much time in Mexico, and I didn't know all the money I spent, and what the fuck. No, it all served a purpose, because it made me appreciate what I have here. And it also made me connect with you guys while I was in Mexico, right? And so we get to now be from here and from this place, and for me being in a place of appreciation, we get to see what comes from here. So I'm excited. And so I want to retain and keep that excitement and keep my energy up for you guys. But I also do want you to know that I am aware that not always, everything is not always perfect and roses and easy. Okay? And so I will be doing a special pick a card for that. I will figure that out. That's in my mind. I'm working on it. So for those of you that might quietly or secretly or be hurting, don't worry. I haven't forgotten about you, and I know that you exist, and I know that your pain is real, and we will get you. I will get something together that will validate that, but will also help to shift that for you, I hope. Okay? I'm just going to share this too. I feel compelled to share this. When I was doing this mediumship course, they wanted us to raise our vibration all the time. And the way that they did it was they would always say, the teacher would say, and he was a great teacher, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about the way that he taught or anything like that, but he would say, go to your happy place. And sometimes for me, it was hard for me to find my happy place, where I'm truly 100% happy. I don't know if I've even experienced that yet. I work towards it every day, but sometimes I'm not 100% sure that I think my happiest place is when I'm like cuddling my dogs. That is really it. That's what I use as my happy place to raise my vibration. But I found myself early on being very frustrated, going like, oh my God, I gotta raise my vibration again? What the fuck? And that's a very true feeling. I am in a human body, I have to acknowledge that, with a mental mind, with the experiences that I have. So I can only do the best that I can do. So I try and find the blessing, again, for all of those aspects of me, for my mind, for the tool that it is, even the fear that sometimes it puts me in because it's trying to protect me. Anyways, this is getting long-winded and I'm going off on long tangents. I don't know why I'm sharing all this with you guys this morning, but I am excited that we'll have some unboxings today. I'm excited for next Wednesday's pick a card. I'm excited for things that are coming in the mail that I get to share with you guys. I'm excited for the people that are inquiring about personal readings, and I'm excited to get back to charming for you guys. So, just keep a lookout for all of that stuff. And if you feel so inclined, browse the Amazon wish list. That's one way you can support me. And you can always inquire about personal readings on the business page. Please give me a like, a share, a subscribe, a comment anywhere you see fit. That all helps me. And I make you want to cry, Mary. I'm not trying to make you want to cry. And there's nothing wrong with crying, guys. Like a good cry. I love a good cry. That's when I know that I'm alive. So, if you ever see me cry, it's not a bad thing. And it's so funny to me. Some people get like really intimidated by tears, or they get freaked out, and they're like, "Oh no, 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 no! You don't want to do that. No, don't." And they try and like pull us out of it. And it's like sometimes I think that that's actually not the answer. The answer is to listen to why we're crying. You know, why do we feel the way we feel? And that's why I want to do this pick a card. But I also don't want to. There's some people that I have to say. There's places where I have been where I have felt like identified with my pain. It was a large part of my identity. About experiences that I have had in my life that became my identity because of the pain that it caused me. And I carried it through my life for a really long time. And I think that what it is that I needed to release it through meditation and looking at it for what it is and realizing that I'm an adult and I'm 46 and I've, survived it and I've thrived beyond it. And looking at it from that perspective on the other side of the wall and looking back on it with maybe a fondness or a gratefulness for the fact that I actually went through it because it taught me something has shifted my relationship to it. So it's part of my knowledge base, but it's not necessarily part of my identity. And there's a difference there. So I want to find some sort of way to express that through a pick a card. Hopefully I will. That's the intention. And I just want you guys to know if you are suffering or feeling like sad or aggravated or frustrated, I've been there, and you will find your way out. I have, and I'm not so sure that I won't end up there at some point, but it's the human experience. It's all part of it. All right? Okay, so I love you all. I got to sign off. I got to go get my shit together before these guys get here. Hopefully they get everything fixed. If they do, I'll alert Ducky, and Ducky will let you guys know if there will be a charming tonight or maybe tomorrow night. Depends on all the unboxings. I'm going to start those too after they leave. All right, you guys, so have a great day. Yes, Ducky says release. So, release. Don't worry about crying. Expansion. That's that tense feeling that I was feeling in the shuffle. Just ease that out. Shake those shoulders. Shake those arms. Be like Gus, my dog Gus. He's like a noodle. Like when you go and you move him, he's 65 pounds. He's heavy as a brick shit house. But when you move him, like he just like noodles. He like flops around. He's such a dork. But like if you go to move him, he just like is like so compliant, like so I call him the wet noodle. So like when he noodles on the bed, like when I want him to move over and make space for me, I go in and move him, and his like head flops around like he doesn't put any effort in. I have to do it all myself to get him to move out of the spot where I sit in the bed. So be like Gus today and be a wet noodle and just get loose, get ready to learn, be open, be enthusiastic, be like the child of crystals. All right, you guys, I love you. I will see you all tomorrow in the morning if I don't see you tonight. Keep a lookout for the unboxings. And yeah, that's it. We got plenty going on. I also have some other stuff going on. Ducky knows about it. I'm going to announce it a little bit later in the month. Surprises and stuff like that. So, but that will be later. Okay? All right, so I will talk to you guys soon and have a great day, you guys. All right.